Good morning, everyone. Mr. Nelson here with a policy debate intro video. That's my refrigerator. This is my kitchen. It's early in the morning. Let's go. Quick idea on what this video is going to be about. This is an introduction to policy debate. It's going to be the basics that you need to know for the unit we're beginning today. That will end in early December. It's our final unit before we begin senior year capstone, and therefore this is our closing exploration of the impact of artificial intelligence on society. Let's start with a couple definitions. First, some etymology. Policy comes from the Greek word polis, which means city, also politeia in Greek, which means citizenship. And in the English language, this word means a course of principle or action adopted or proposed by a government, party, business, or individual. Some synonyms are words like plan, strategy, a blueprint. So we're having a debate about different plans or strategies related to a particular resolution. So what's in a debate? You have two teams. You have the affirmative team and you have the negative team. The job of the affirmative team is to propose a policy, to argue that it's a good idea, that there's something wrong, and that we need a solution to it. The job of the negative team is just the opposite of that. It's to negate their argument, to argue that the policy proposal is a bad idea. Both teams use a ton of evidence and explanation reasoning in the form of analysis to build their arguments into separate speeches. A debate is really all about the resolution, and resolution is just a fancy word for the topic. It's also about the status quo, which is a Latin word that literally means the what is the status. In the case of a debate, status quo means just the way things are right now in the world. So here's our resolution for this year. The United States federal government should introduce legislation to substantially regulate the use of artificial intelligence. So that's the resolution. The status quo would be a description by the affirmative team of what's going on in the world related to artificial intelligence and why it's a problem. The two teams are going to be arguing around what is the most effective solution related to this topic or resolution. They have two different ways of going about making their arguments. The affirmative team will propose, the negative team will defend or refute. Affirmative teams propose a policy that will try and change the way things are right now or try to change the status quo. The negative team has options. They can either make a no inherency or no harms argument where they defend the status quo. That's where you say there isn't really a problem, or the problems aren't that bad, or the problem is going away on its own. Or they can make a no solvency argument. This is where you argue that the plan the affirmative team or the policy the affirmative team is bringing up actually isn't going to solve the problem that they've just identified. In a debate round, you alternate speeches between a constructive speech, which both teams make, cross-examination, which happens after both teams' constructive speeches, and then you close the debate with rebuttal rounds. One partner will make the team's constructive speech, the other partner will make the team's rebuttal speech. A constructive speech is where the partner team builds and constructs their argument. You introduce evidence and claims that support the argument you are making for the policy you want to bring about if you're on the affirmative team, or the way you are defending or refuting the affirmative teams if you're on the negative. In cross-examination, you get to ask clarifying questions to understand the logic of the team's argument before you make your rebuttal speech, in which your partner will summarize your key arguments, summarize the opposing team's key arguments, and explain why their argument is more convincing. Cross-examination is a skill in which you are not just trying to get gotcha questions, but really try to understand the opposing team's argument so that you can prepare in your rebuttal speech to identify that argument and explain reasons why it is wrong or your argument is more convincing. There's a judge in a debate. The judge will listen to your arguments, take notes on what you are saying. They will determine who won the debate, and then they will give you feedback around what you could do better in your next round. They will not tell you who won the debate. You'll find that out after a debate tournament is over. But they will be evaluating arguments for who has convinced them more and done their job. The affirmative team needs to prove there's a problem and that they have a reasonable policy solution to solve it. The negative team needs to identify why the affirmative team is wrong. You will use a significant amount of evidence in your debate round, especially during your constructive speech, where you introduce a series of claims and warrants. These strengthen your arguments. It aligns your opinion with what experts are saying about your topic, and you will need lots of it. Last thing, in a debate, you switch sides. Sometimes you are on the affirmative team, sometimes you're on the negative team. Fancy little graphic there. Oh, and then you switch. The reason for this is to get you to understand both sides of an argument that you are trying to make. Sometimes you need to be able to propose this policy solution. Sometimes you need to be able to point out why other teams' ideas for policy solutions won't work. Congratulations. We're excited. I believe our debate is scheduled for the first week of December. And I'm really excited about this topic and where you can bring together all that you have learned on the nature of artificial intelligence and how it needs to or does not need to be regulated by the federal government. Thank you.